Hi everyone, I'm Grumble, and here's welcome back to the channel and to a new format, First Impressions. I've played the first chapter of As Dusk Falls, a new interactive game by developer Interior Night and published by Xbox Game Studios. It's day one on Game Pass, I'm playing it on PC, and here are my first impressions of the game.
And everybody's got a little hole in the middle. Everybody does a little dance with the devil.
For a little context, Vince, his wife Michelle, and their daughter Zoe, and his father Jim, and dog Zeus, are on their way to St. Louis after Vince apparently lost his job at an airline. After an accident, they seek shelter at a motel on Route 66. On the other side of town, the Holt brothers have decided to rob the safe of a very likely corrupt cop to pay off their father's debts. When the daylight robbery goes wrong, they have to run, and their paths cross with the walkers. First things first, the original art style and animation. I like the stylization of the character models and backgrounds, and the way it's animated and cut makes me curious about the tech and the process behind it. The visuals are smooth and it's easy to watch, neither immersion nor motion sickness were an issue for me. As for gameplay mechanics, the QTEs are fine, there's some accessibility settings to tweak them for your convenience, and the timers are clear and present on how long you have left to make a choice. Big choices outside of dialogue also go without a timer, which both takes the stress out of it and signposts that this decision is one that will create a branch. There's also additional UI for exactly that purpose. The little outcome pop-up also lets you know exactly when your choice is borne out, so you won't be waiting endlessly for the other shoe to drop. You can later revisit the chapter's branch and replay specific sections to view different outcomes. Choices do feel meaningful, both in terms of plot and the kind of person you're playing. Vince's character emerges through the gameplay and the way the other characters react to his actions. The characters are well drawn, no pun intended, and the choices are, so far from trivial. I've only played the first chapter, and there were definitely moments that had my heart rate go up. Looking at the narrative branches, the story could have gone a lot differently. I'm curious about Vince and his family's backstory, as well as the Holt boys.
You're the middle brother. The one who got himself sent off to juvenile hall.
Shut the fuck up.
Why? Everybody knows.
Joyce, don't.
From what I hear, you're just like your daddy. Another fucked up Holt thinks the world's his to break.
The framing narrative you see a tiny bit of at the beginning is told from little Zoe Walker's point of view, but clearly years into the future. According to the developer, this game is a story about the entangled lives of two families across 30 years. Exposition in the year 1998 is delivered mostly naturalistically through dialogue and character choice. Coming back to the art and visuals, there is no free moving at all, you're taken through the story by the camera. When searching a room, for example, you choose places to check from a fixed vantage point and see only snapshots of the character doing it, if anything. How dynamic the gameplay feels then depends on the camera work and the characters. Conversations tend to have a limited number of angles, but the characters move in place and there's a lot of work put into their expressions. All in all, it's definitely more a visual novel rather than an FMV or a standard single-player game or even a Telltale game, but visual novels are games. So, the dude bros can suck it. The soundtrack is good, though nothing stood out to me thus far besides the title song, which is a banger. So, how well does the first chapter of As Dusk Falls do at drawing the player in? The first hour has to pull you into the story, hook you through suspense, and get the plot going, all while explaining the mechanics to you. There is a no-frills, hands-off tutorial before you start the game, but I'm a player who has to see things in action and do them myself to get to grips with them. That's a lot of lifting, and As Dusk Falls delivers, in my opinion. It establishes the stakes of the story, it made me care about the characters, and the gameplay so far is perfectly straightforward. That's it for my first impressions of As Dusk Falls. I'll definitely be playing more of this, as I'm curious to see what all terrible shit happens next that I will probably be at least partially responsible for. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of these videos, check out the links in the description box below, and have a peek at the end cards for loads of other stuff. Thanks for watching.